Bobby. I'm kind of a big deal, but like I'm also narcissist, so it's kind of crazy.
Okay, we need to focus on the task at hand. What to do about Cuba. The airstrike is a terrible idea. We need new ideas.
We're here to discuss the best way to handle it.
The best way to handle this is through a massive airstrike on Cuba!
Mr. President, there is no way to handle this lightly. The Soviet Union has lied to us, and they have missiles really close to our territory. We have to act fast.
Mr. President, we need to think about this in a calm manner. As ambassador of the UN, I don't think that we should become just a bull in a china shop. This airstrike is ridiculous.
What do you know?
Yeah, what do you know? Huh?
What do you think we should do besides the airstrike then?
We need to use a peaceful negotiation for the Soviet Union.
A peaceful negotiation? The Russians are transferring missiles hundreds of miles from our shore. Why would we ever be peaceful with those communists?
No. For once in his life, Adlai is right, okay? We must not do anything that will incite war. We must play the defensive here and put a naval quarantine on the island. That way we can force the Russians to make the move.
We narrow this right. A naval quarantine would be a good idea, but we need to execute it in the cheapest way possible.
We need to keep in mind that they have pigs invasion now. If the quarantine is to be executed, we have to carefully plan it and make sure it is executed to perfection.
Exactly, which is why a peaceful negotiation would be the best decision. We could talk to the Soviet Union, make them move the missiles, and if needed, we could use financial support to give it to them.
You want to give them money? What happened to the cheapest way possible?
We cannot forget how immorally this will be against our country. Sure, we will be killing Russians, but we're also risking the lives of innocent people. Do you men understand how bad of a reputation this will leave our country?
The airstrike is by far the best option and the only way to handle this properly. If we don't take care of these dangerous weapons just a few hundred miles from our shorelines, it could mean catastrophe for America. The idea of a quarantine will take too long, and results could take even longer to see. That's precious time we simply don't have.
He's right. We have to eliminate this threat.
An airstrike would mean imminent war!
Shut up, Wayne!
General Maxwell, I don't recommend this. The United Nations will not tolerate
We have
this.
to take care of this. Force is the only and best way to take care of this quickly.
We need a better way to do this.
No!
McClure was right about the quarantine, but what to do with it? Okay, hear me out. Put the quarantine around Cuba. It would keep our ships from having missiles enter the country.
That's what a quarantine is! There's already missiles!
My fellow Americans, today I have some troubling revelations. Recently, the United States has learned that the Soviets have begun to put weapons of mass destruction in Cuba. This is an irrational and unacceptable move to escalate tensions. Having these weapons in Cuba means that at any time the Soviets could strike, leaving us with no time to preserve the lives of our citizens. These missiles cannot stay, and we advise the Soviets to remove them before things get out of hand. Therefore, as of today, Cuba will be under constant surveillance, making sure that no more nuclear buildup continues. And if it does, then further action will be warranted. Also, as of today, Cuba is under quarantine. Any and all ships attempting to enter Cuba will be stopped, and those military equipment will be turned around. If Cuba attacks any country in the Western Hemisphere, they will also be met with American resistance. On this day, we also ask the Organization of American States for support of our actions against the tyranny of communism. I ask that the United Nations not stand by during our time of need and support a resolution demanding Soviet dismantling and a withdrawal of these offensive weapons. And to Khrushchev, I ask that you avoid the sea and to not war hunters, but promote peace among our two nations. These are the goals I set for myself and for the American people, and I sincerely promise to achieve them without compromising our people's interests and principles. Thank you, and may God bless America. I'm very excited about it. It's great. I love you. Excuse,
So the quarantine tactic that we discussed last meeting went very well. there was little to no backfire, but there is still the fact of Russian rockets in Cuba.
Khrushchev has been sending conflicting letters to the United States. One letter is the Soviets asking us to stop any quick decisions.
Then today, he sent us a second letter. He demanded us to remove the missiles from Turkey or resistance will be met.
Khrushchev's second message must be acted upon, like we would upon a declaration of war. The United States cannot be seen as weak.
Mr. President, I must agree. Khrushchev has not threatened humanity before, so an airstrike was unnecessary. But with this threat, an airstrike is the only possible solution.
Yes, we have the superior military. The Soviets wouldn't dare retaliate. Mr. President, your past decision on the quarantine was not correct. And that is why we are in the situation we are in at the moment. An airstrike followed by an invasion on Cuba the next day is the only way to right your wrong.
Mr. President, you know as well as I that while your decision kept more rockets from entering Cuba, the progress of assembling those already in Cuba has sped up. And it will be ready to launch in a day or two, but an airstrike would only lead to mass chaos and death.
Mr. President, a peaceful agreement and pledge is the best option. Deciding on an airstrike would only open the world up to global catastrophe.
That is not true.
Not
If
true.
Khrushchev has a brain, he won't fight back.
Wait, what if we simply ignore his second message? If we respond to the first message where Khrushchev promised to remove missiles from Cuba, if we promise not to invade Cuba and remove our quarantine, the whole crisis could be averted.
I see what you're saying. By agreeing to abide by the terms presented in the first letter, there would be no need for military action. I agree to that.
No. We don't have much time. We all need to agree on something.
Not taking military action is a mistake.
I think an airstrike would be the best strategy. Then the next day we go to invade Cuba.
Right.
While they're down, they wouldn't be a problem anymore.
Use of force is our last resort. There are brilliant minds in this room. Surely we can come up with a better solution than starting a World War III.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. We all have good ideas. Let's just mash them all up and form a good plan. Meeting adjourned. Bob, I would like to have a word. Tell Khrushchev we'll have the missiles out of Turkey in 30 days.